Hey everybody, Hat Creature here. Today I come to you with my personal rework for Monstrous Shrine. Now, this perk has been regarded one of the most useless perks by the killer community in Dead by Daylight. It is a faster progression, really doesn't mean much. Increased penalty for failed escape attempts really doesn't mean much, especially when survivors are only stupid if they actually try to get off. So, this perk really doesn't do much. But, thanks to Pinhead, he comes with his very first Scourge Hook. Now, I believe that Scourge Hook is kind of like a stepping stone to rework Monstrous Shrine. Now, I've come up with 3 ideas that can overall buff this perk without making it too powerful. I hope. So without further ado, here are my 3 possible reworks for Monstrous Shrine. Now, before I actually get into it, once again, I love the basement. I love basement strats. I love playing around the basement. I am a basement killer. That's like one of my favorite things to do in this game. So reworking, basement perks and creating them is actually something I really enjoy doing. So here we go. For the first rework, option 1. After survivors are unhooked from the basement and leave the area, meaning the actual basement, they can still be in the shack, but, the last step at the top of the stairs of the basement. Once they leave the area, survivors have their auras revealed for 4, 5, 6 seconds, and their grunts of pain are 25% louder until healed. Now, eventually I do believe behavior is going to get rid of the tears, so the final option won't have any tears. But basically, yeah, 6 seconds, you have your aura revealed after you leave the basement, and your grunts of pain are 25% louder. So basically, Monstrous Shrine becomes a tracking perk for people you've already hooked in the basement. And when they get out, you have a little bit of a chance to find the survivor who escaped and bring him back down. If that survivor is good at looping, then this is basically bait for the killer. Don't patrol the gens, don't chase anybody else. Come get me if you can. Option 2. Once a survivor has been hooked in the basement, any interaction they perform is periodically interrupted by the entity for 3, 4, 5 seconds at a time. Similar to Cheryl's perk. Whenever she presses that button and the entire gen gets blocked by the entity, it's a lot like that. So whenever you're working on a gen, every so often for maximum of 5 seconds, the gen gets blocked. If you're trying to heal someone, maybe it'll happen, maybe it won't, but if it does, your hands will be bound and you won't be able to heal that person for like 5 seconds. You can, go and maybe do a gen, maybe not, because since you're healing, you'll have to have your hands bound, so you probably won't be able to do gens anyway, but you get the idea. Because you got hooked down there, you're now cursed. But don't worry. Survivors must cleanse the basement hooks to stop the effect. Now that's something entirely new to the game, but since survivors now have boon totems and they can bless totems, perhaps they can cleanse the basement hooks. It would have, a similar animation to blessing a totem, but you just go down to the basement hooks, and then you perform that ritual, that animation where your hand is out and you're cleansing the hooks. But you're only cleansing it for yourself, not everybody. That's the ultimate difference. So that's option 2, and it also brings some new gameplay in. You can also, as killer, you can use this perk with Territorial Imperative. So knowing that the survivor would want to come back and cleanse the hook, boom. You see them when they go back down there. In that case, I don't believe it should take very long to cleanse the hook. It shouldn't take too long just because the killer can use that perk. You know, you want synergy with all your perks. Next up, for the final option, I think this is my favorite. People might not like this one. It might be too powerful, but I've tried my best to try and, you know, make it fair. So here we go. Option 3. Hooking survivors in the basement increases your power. This kind of works like barbecue and chili. So one survivor is one singular survivor. 2 survivors is like 2 different survivors. Just keep that in mind. So hooking one survivor in the basement increases your movement speed by 5% for 5 seconds every 20 seconds. This is kind of like Devour Hope, but with this one, you can actually tell that it's working, instead of it working and you never even realizing that you were actually faster for a little bit. But now you will, since it happens periodically. When you hook 2 survivors, it increases your vaulting speed by 10%. I made it 10 because you can stack it with other perks. Hooking 3 separate survivors decreases your missed attack cooldown by 10%. Once again, it's only 10 because you can stack it with another perk. You don't want it to be too fast. Don't want to bring back the machine gun build. Now, 10% might be too high, so you can lower it, you know, to 5%. If the percentages are too high, just lower it. But you can't lower it too much, otherwise it'd be useless. When the 4th survivor has been hooked, you apply deep wounds to every survivor regardless of injured status whenever you injure another survivor. Now don't worry, the fair part's coming up. So basically what this means is, if you're Trapper or anybody at all, whenever you actually manage to injure a survivor, every other survivor gets deep wounds, and they have to, you know, mend. Even if they're fully healthy, they have to mend. It's a curse. You're uber powerful. They're not exposed, so they don't go down, but it stops them from whatever they're doing. Unless you're running. You can just keep running. Survivors are able to cleanse these effects by cleansing the basement hooks after each survivor has been hooked once. Hooking survivors on any hook except the basement also resets the effects. So basically what that means is, yes, you're getting more powerful the more survivors you hook down there. And after you hook all 4 of them at least once, then the survivors can basically reset your perk. Because you're so powerful, they're going to need a way to fight back. So that is when you're at full power, they can go down into the basement and basically turn off your ability. Because, you know, you're pretty much faster in everything, and you have an incredibly powerful ability. But, of course, that might not be enough. So, I also added in hooking survivors on any hook except the basement also resets your perk. So, using this perk, yes, it is incredibly powerful, but it is incredibly specific and difficult to pull off. You have to commit to the basement in order to get the full power of this perk. If you want to be faster in almost everything and have an incredibly powerful ability, you need to commit. If you hook one person in the basement, you'll get one effect. But if you can't reach the basement anymore, and you have to hook someone on a different hook, well, you lose that one effect. Same thing if you hook 2 people down there, but then you hook someone up top, it resets the whole thing. So you yourself can turn it off if you're not committing to the Monstrous Shrine in the basement. You have to honor that shrine. You have to commit to serving your lord, to, sacrificing down there. And if you don't, if you forsake it, then you lose your coveted abilities. But because you're so powerful, the survivors can also, interrupt your connection to the Monstrous Shrine by cleansing the hooks. And that's it. Those are my three possible options for reworking Monstrous Shrine. I love the basement, just like I said. And I wanted to create something that would, make the basement scary or powerful, hopefully both, for whatever this perk becomes. If it becomes something else. If it gets a rework. I hope it does. It should. It is one of the, I believe, one of the actual original killer perks. And it's absolutely horrible, and no one runs it. It's useless. You don't want to run it. I want to run it, but I don't because I know it's not worth it. Just like I said in the beginning. I hope. But this is behavior. This is their game. This game is made by them. So it doesn't matter what I come up with. In fact, it doesn't matter what anyone comes up with. Everyone's ideas will always and be completely ignored by behavior until they feel threatened. When they do feel threatened, then they listen to us. Then they give us things we talk about. So here's hoping that behavior becomes threatened soon so that they can actually listen to our ideas once again, just like they felt threatened with competition and decided to give Trapper 2 traps. It only took 5 years, because it took 5 years for them to see that a game might actually be competing with them. I mean, why else would it take them 5 years to give a very simple, incredibly simple tweak to one of the weakest killers in the game? Why would it take 5 years to, add something that simple to something who needs so much more than that? I don't know, maybe they're just competent. Or maybe they felt threatened. So here's hoping to them getting threatened again. Thank you. If you enjoyed, please press that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. Let me know your thoughts. Did you enjoy any of the ideas? Do you have ideas yourself? Please share them below. Perhaps one day they'll get noticed. Who knows? Have a great day.